My name is Allicia. I am 26 years old, and today I want to tell you about the day I lost everything. When you listen to this story, please listen till the end, because even in the darkest night, there is still a small light waiting somewhere. It was a rainy morning. I was sitting near the small window of my tiny apartment, looking at the street below. The sound of rain was soft, but inside my heart, there was a heavy storm. I looked at the empty chair near the table. That chair used to be his, Daniel's, the man I loved, the man I thought would never leave. I whispered to myself, how fast life can change. My hands were cold. I touched the cup of coffee, but it had already lost its warmth, just like my heart. A few months ago, everything was different. I had a job in a bookstore, a loving husband, and big dreams. Every morning, Daniel used to wake me with a smile. "Wake up, sleepy girl," he would say. "The world is waiting for you." I would laugh, cover my face with the blanket, and say, "5 more minutes, please." He would pull the blanket away and tickle my feet until I got up laughing. Those mornings were full of love. I didn't know how much I would miss them. One evening, when I came home from work, I found Daniel sitting quietly on the sofa. His face looked different, tired, confused. I placed my bag on the chair and asked, "What happened, Daniel? You look worried." He smiled weakly. "Nothing serious, Allicia. Just some work stress." But I could see it in his eyes. Something was wrong. That night he didn't eat much, and before sleeping he said softly, "No matter what happens, remember I love you." I didn't understand why he said that. I thought maybe he was just tired, but I wish I had asked more. The next day, I received a call from his office. The voice on the phone said, "Mrs. Allicia, Daniel has been in an accident. Please come to the hospital quickly." My world stopped. The cup fell from my hand and broke into pieces. I ran outside, forgetting my umbrella. The rain hit my face, but I didn't care. I just wanted to reach him. At the hospital, the smell of medicine and pain was everywhere. I ran through the corridor and saw him lying on the bed. His face was pale, his eyes closed. I cried, "Daniel, please open your eyes. I'm here." The nurse held my shoulders and said gently, "He is still alive, but in a coma. We are trying our best." For days, I sat beside him, holding his hand. I told him stories. I played his favorite songs. Sometimes I felt his fingers move slightly, but he never woke up. Weeks passed, and one morning the doctor came and said, "We did everything we could." His words cut through my heart. I couldn't breathe. My knees went weak, and I fell to the floor crying, "No, please, no." That was the day I lost everything. Or at least, that's what I thought. After the funeral, I stopped talking to people. I stopped going to work. My world became small. Just a room, a chair, and memories. Sometimes I would sit for hours looking at his photo, touching the frame, whispering, "Why did you leave me?" One evening, I found an old letter inside Daniel's drawer. It was written in his handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. The letter said, "My dear Allicia, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer beside you. Please don't cry too long. I know you will feel empty, but I want you to live. I want you to follow your dreams again. You have a big heart. Use it to help others. Promise me you won't give up on life." I cried again, but this time the tears felt different. They were painful, but also warm, as if Daniel was holding my heart through his words. That night, for the first time in months, I looked outside the window and noticed the stars. I whispered, "Okay, Daniel, I promise. The next morning, I went back to the bookstore. My manager, Mr. Kevin, was surprised to see me. "Alicia," he said, "I didn't think you'd come back." I smiled softly. "I want to try again." He nodded and said, "Welcome home." As I arranged the books, I saw a little girl standing near the counter. She looked about 10 years old. She asked me shyly, "Do you have any storybooks with pictures?" I smiled and walked her to the shelf. "Here, this one is my favorite," I said, handing her a small book with a red cover. Her eyes brightened. "Thank you." When she left, I felt something inside me heal just a little. I realized that sharing stories was also sharing love, and maybe that was how I could start living again. That night, I began writing my own story. The title was The Day I Lost Everything. But as I wrote, I understood something beautiful. I hadn't lost everything. I had lost someone I loved, but I still had his love inside me. I still had memories, words, and a chance to give hope to others. I started reading my stories online for people learning English, people from different parts of the world who wanted to listen, learn, and feel something real. Slowly, comments began to appear. Some said, "Your voice makes me calm." Others said, "Your story helped me not to give up." Every message felt like a small light, and slowly my dark room began to shine again. Then one day, an old woman came to the bookstore. She said, "Are you Allicia, the one who reads stories online?" I smiled, surprised. "Yes, that's me." She held my hands and said, "My husband passed away last year. I listened to your stories every night. You made me feel less alone." Tears came to my eyes. I hugged her and whispered, "Thank you for telling me. I also lost someone. Maybe we both can heal together." From that day, I understood what Daniel meant in his letter, that love never ends. It changes shape. It moves from one heart to another. And sometimes, when you share your pain with others, it becomes a bridge, not a wall. Days turned into months, and I became stronger. I smiled more. I laughed again. One morning, while I was recording a new story, I looked at Daniel's photo and said, "See, I kept my promise." I felt as if he smiled back, maybe not with lips, but through the calm that filled my heart. Life had taken something from me, yes, but it had also given me a purpose: to tell stories that heal hearts, to help people learn not just English, but kindness, courage, and hope. And that is how the day I lost everything became the day I found myself.